forget, starting Monday at 10 a.m., March 23rd, we are streaming live from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on our new home, the WKYC app, WKYC Plus. Sorry about that. Don't forget, though, the second hour, you can always catch that on YouTube. Remember to still subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube channel.
Oh, by the way, I do want to say this. My wife miraculously was listening to the show. I looked down, and she said, give me Tyvis's Earl's address and his size so I can order it. It takes you forever.
Shout out to Rosie Bush.
So,
she
yeah.
always holding it down. She always putting on, you know what I'm saying? You always looking out. Good looking, Rose.
Yeah. So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know why you was looking. She always checks to see if I made it to work.
You have a pretty easy job to tell if you made it in or not.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to fake G.
Yeah.
Bush. But, all right, next topic, guys. The Browns' defense was obviously one of the best units in all of football last season. It projects, based off the players coming back, based on some of the additions they've made, to be another really solid unit in 2026. So Earl wanted to know, and G, I'll start with you. There's a lot of strengths on this defense, but in your opinion, as of today, what is the weakness of the Browns' defense heading into next year?
This is a very good question. I think one of the weaknesses is change. I think Mike Rutenberg is he's going to come in, and I think, he has a relationship with Quincy Williams, obviously. But one thing that can't be underestimated is we can't strip Jim Schwartz of all his medals. Mm-hmm. I mean, you take a look at it, and during his time period here, pretty much all of the corners that he has had, they played their best football. Whether it's Greg Newsome, who they got, Tyson Campbell came in and played well almost immediately. Whether Denzel Ward had multiple Pro Bowl years, Grant Delpit was a Pro Bowler alternate. Even Ronnie Hickman, who was an undrafted guy, is unnoticeable at free safety, which is a good thing. Yeah. All I need to know is, are you back there and you playing? You ain't letting nobody get behind you. Ain't no coverage bust. Those guys played well. Not to mention, Carson Schwensinger was the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Myles Garrett broke the sack record. Let's not act like, as a coach, that is not one of the biggest. At one point in time, Malik Collins was leading defensive tackles in sacks.
Not an all-pro.
All-pro. Devin Bush had his best year and got a bag of money. So Jim Schwartz, from what he was doing, it worked. Guys knew it was continuity. They knew what he would call. They knew they were comfortable with what he was doing. And even though, you can't project what the new coach is going to do, there is going to be an adjustment period. There's going to be some adjustments. A guy's not – and the defense is not as much as the offense, where the offensive line continuity is everything. Defensive guys are like a bunch of mercenaries almost. But you still need people in the back end. And the second thing is, Jason, is the Browns play man-to-man. It's kind of easy to line up with Jim Schwartz and say, hey, go lock this dude down, Myles Garrett. You don't got any. We know Myles Garrett don't got no run responsibility. So when Myles Garrett's out there hunting sacks, right? So you need somebody as a linebacker to understand that and make sure that you downhill and making sure you can clean up the run game. But now if you're introducing zone coverage, we saw under Joe Woods, and we still saw sometimes under Jim Schwartz. When they was running zone coverages, it was, which way did he go, George? Who was that guy? So now we're going to have to figure out, can you run zone? How are you going to adjust? And whether or not these guys can keep the same relative level in terms of what it was.
Yeah, we bypassed the topic. We had something about Warhop is Warhop the most impactful? And I would split hairs and say it's probably the new DC. Mm-hmm. It better be the most impactful. But if you want to talk position, specific position weakness, I'll go back to what Tyvis said in slot nickel. And that's
a good one.
That's the one spot defensively where you just wonder what they're going to do there. Cam Mitchell was terrible early.
Myles Harden wasn't great either.
Myles Harden was better, but he wasn't great. So that's a position that they're going to have to address, I would think, in the draft. I would think. I know we keep talking offense, but at some point, I think you want to take a look at that slot nickel spot and see if you can do better there. As you go against teams with multiple tight end sets or slot receivers or whatever. obviously you feel pretty good about the front four. You feel pretty good about linebacker. You feel pretty good about safety and corners, the outside corners. But if you want to circle one spot on the defense that you still have concerns about, for me, it's a slot nickel.
I agree. You're gonna have to draft a guy because they don't have a body type. Nickel corners are a different type of breed. So and look,
And it ain't Emerson either.
it ain't. No, it's not Emerson. That ain't sorry, Earl.
You're not moving Tyson Campbell.
Yeah, no.
So when I first saw this question, my thought was stopping the run.
Mm-hmm.
After Malik Collins got hurt last year, they obviously took a step back in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
It's Mason Graham, and then now it's Mike Hall and Kalia Davis and the other guys in the interior if Malik Collins doesn't come back and play at the same level he did in the past. And I have no reason to believe he won't, but last year was the best year of Malik Collins' career.
Mm-hmm.
So to expect him to come back and replicate that at this stage, at the age he's at, coming off a major season-ending injury, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's hard to predict he'll play at that elite level again. So that was my first thought. But then as I was thinking more, I'm not sure this is a weakness of the defense. The Browns' defensive unit was incredibly healthy last season. Myles didn't miss any games. Denzel played almost the entire season. Delpit played almost the entire season. Devin Bush played almost the entire season. Carson Schwensinger, high ankle sprain, didn't miss a game because it came over the bye week. Outside of Malik Collins, that side of the football for the Browns was incredibly healthy. The offense was riddled with injuries. Defensively, that unit stayed intact almost the entire year. And
even Denzel Ward to a certain extent.
So and how rare is that? Sustained health
Super.
back to back to back. The Browns, talent-wise, across the entire defensive unit is awesome. They got premier pass rushers, really good interior linemen, really good linebackers, especially if Quincy Williams can get back to his 2023 All-Pro form. You have three defensive backs in Ward, Tyson, and Delpit that are at minimum all Pro Bowl, not all Pro, but Pro Bowl caliber players. But can they all stay healthy again? We saw what happened and how good that defensive unit was last year when health was not a factor, when they all played essentially 17 games. It was one of the 5 best units in the entire NFL. But if you start losing those pieces, do they have the depth to sustain and withstand? We'll find out. It's a new defensive coordinator. It's a slightly new scheme. We didn't see them have to go through that last season. I just think it's incredibly difficult to stay as healthy as they were year in and year out because it's such a violent, unpredictable game that I think the weakness of this defense, G, and I'm not even sure you can really call it a weakness, is the fact that I think they're going to struggle to stay as healthy as they were last year.
Yeah, health is something. Is
that fair?
Yeah. I mean, health is, especially when you have guys who've not sustained any major. Myles Garrett almost seems like he's Teflon for some. He's been in accidents and hasn't missed a substantial amount of time. I think that just goes to the fact that, he got in with the LeBron James game plan. And
I've seen that dude not be able to put his shirt on after the game and still play. Like, literally could not raise his arm to put his shirt on.
It's crazy.
Some guys are just built different. Built different.
He spends a lot of money in the offseason on his body. He has a specific routine. There's a really cool video a couple years ago about what he does outside of just outside of the training program with the Browns to get his body ready because he's been a go. And so you can't always just pencil that in as, we're going to have the same amount of health. Luck plays a role in that, and injuries, especially when you play in that many games, is a thing as well. But I do think that the Browns could they could even actually be a little better. The plan is, if you can get Mason Graham to take a substantial leap, now you have an interior push where you getting pressure inside. I think he's going to come back with way more. We call it your grown. He's a pup. He got big paws on him, though. He got big paws. We're going to see if he can put that weight on. I want to see a couple counter moves. He's already lightning quick. And the fact that he made it through the season is huge because Mike Hall Jr. was a guy who had some of those same skill sets, but then got injured and then had to put a lot of time rehabbing. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see him come back. I want to see what Mason Graham looks like. But I think that there's a ceiling where they can actually be a little better, but they can actually be worse too. They could definitely fall back.
There's a lot of concern when you bring in a new coordinator, and also the defense was very good last year. But if you're going to have a conversation about the defense, you can't have it without at least acknowledging Carson Wentz dog walked them down the field.
Yeah.
And they played very well against the Jets, but the defense couldn't get off the field. And
Yep.
special teams is the reason they lost the game to the Jets, like point blank. The special teams were atrocious. But they had an opportunity to get off the field late in the game and get the ball back, and they had a defensive
penalty?
pass interference and then the horrendous offsides.
Yep.
And allowed the Jets to run out the clock. So it's not like I think this is I said this last year during the season. I think this is a really good defense. I think it has been overrated a little bit because when they really, really needed them this year in big spots, they didn't come through for them.
Earl, you want to chime in?
I'm just in here having fun with the chat. They like, yeah, Earl, it's over for your boy. And I'm just like, dang, this the last day. UCSS is in this normal time slot,
Over for your boy.
The direction of the
Mark
chat
Emerson.
is going a different way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and now Jason's
He's like-
talking about this over for MJ Emerson. Like, there's no room for my guy. There's no way that he can, develop his skills to somehow play that slot nickel, be a hybrid safety. Like, G, don't be shaking your head no like that. You gotta have some faith and hope. You got faith and hope for everybody else, but ain't no love for MJ Emerson.
Hey man, listen, man.
Oh,
that
terrible.
inside is a different. That's a different breed, man. He's built. And let me just give MJ Emerson some flowers. The year that he came out of nowhere and just took Greg Newsom's minutes,
It's awesome.
was one of the best years I've seen for a corner with the Cleveland Browns. He was long. He was rangy. He was physical. I said, man, they even started having the MJ Emerson rules where they was letting him get handsy all the way down the field.
MJ rules.
I said MJ rules. I'm like,
they wrote a whole book on that.
yeah,
right?
like
MJ
it's the
rules.
MJ rules.
That's about MJ Emerson.
Yeah, like he was. Don't get it twisted. Like he was nice. Man, it's unfortunate that's what McNuggets is talking about. I remember it was during training camp.
It was the day me and Earl were out there.
And people was crowding around. And this is a non-contact, didn't even make it to the game. So to expect people to think about it. We talk about it all the time. The linebacker has just retired. JOK.
Oh, JOK.
JOK. Like the fact that you had to find Schwensinger because JOK on a regular tackle just hurt his neck. So injuries is a big part of the thing, and I think, but MJ Emerson will get on somewhere else.
He'll bounce back. It just he's not built. And
J-Bone 1800, like, man, his speed was already at 85 before the injury. He ain't lying because if you play Madden, his speed is like an 85. I'm up there joining up to 92. I don't care. Sue me.
That's crazy. You one of them dudes. You editing you putting the spat and the mirror shield on and the speed.
But no, like for me, in a more serious note, I think like what Mike has started to allude to, when Malik Collins got hurt, the Browns struggled to stop the run, and offenses were starting to figure out, if I just run wide, I can get the best of them. But another part of the Browns defense that I thought could be better is, though we were an attacking defense, we didn't force a lot of turnovers.
Yep.
And taking the ball away should be an element of this defensive unit that they should focus on improving this year. Because when you change field position by being able to take the ball away or put points on the board, it go a long way in helping the other two phases get their job done.
Gee, how much is forcing turnovers a skill versus luck?
Man, that's the age old. We used to do turnover circuit. And some of the stuff, you got to have a mindset for always punching out the football. But you want to punch out the football, you got to actually be fundamentally sound. You got to have multiple people to the ball. You can't be going for the ball and missing tackles, right? So I think turnovers you can't plan for. It's just something that's in the background. It's just something that it's a found. It's like being like, you got a schedule of things to do in your life, and one of them is paying rent. Well, no, paying your rent that's a non-negotiable. So, like, you can't really count that as something extra above and beyond. Yes, you want turnovers, but you can't just say, I'm going to get a bunch of turnovers. You got to be around the ball. You got to run to the ball. You got to have a mentality that the more you run to the ball and the more you're around the ball, tip passes, you can be opportunistic when you're getting a sack, working on, hey, we're not going for the sack. We're going straight for the strip. Those are things that they teach defensive linemen now. They don't want the quarterback on the ground. We want the ball. So if you can get that, hands up, different things like that at the line of scrimmage, if it's a 3-step drop, but you really can't plan for it. But if you do get turnovers, people talk about what's a way with a young quarterback and a young offense that you can find 2 more wins that you want to get. Because if you're going to say the Browns are a 5-win team, somewhere in that range, my goal is, I told you I want 8. My goal is to figure out what 3 games I can get. Mm-hmm. And the way you can get 3 extra games that you probably shouldn't have had is special teams and turnovers.
For sure.
If you can get those, look at the games against the game against the Green Bay. That was a huge one.
The Delpit interception turned the whole thing around.
Look at the Cincinnati Bengals game with
2
Devin
pick
Bush,
sixes.
the pick six. Look at the Dolphins game. They didn't do nothing in the Dolphins game.
No.
Tua just gave it to them. They said, we'll take it. We'll run wild dog at the goal line.
That was a Campbell pick six.
Campbell pick six. So
the Jets game special teams cost them.
So if you want to get 3 or 4 games, or 3 games, 4 is, I ain't gonna do 4. I'm modest. I'm a conservative when it comes to my predictions with numbers. I'm a moderate conservative. So if you want to get 3, 2.5, 3 more wins that you just shouldn't got, turn the football over.